Hello, internet world. We are back. Happy New Year. It is a new year. We are in 2025 now. I hope the future is fantastic. We'll have to see how all of this goes and whatnot. We can hope deep in our hearts. So here we are, having fun. And we are here to talk about the last 2 weeks of football. Well, the last 2 weeks of regular season football before we get into the playoffs. Which, obviously, my brother and I are going to be very invested in. In case you didn't know, I am your bearded brother, Matt. That is...
I'm alive.
That is a man who is alive and made it through New Year's without obliterating himself.
Somehow.
That would be Chris, my other bearded brother. And this is, of course, yet another sports podcast. All right. So, lots of things to go over, lots of things to talk about, little things, big things, ugly things, and whatnot. I'm going to start with a hockey bit because there was a hockey game last night. And I am very angry.
Oh boy.
Oh yeah. I know you don't watch a lot of regular season hockey. I know that you are aware of certain types of bad things that happen in hockey. Do you know what a slew foot is?
A what?
Slew
Repeat.
foot.
No, that term does not actually ring a bell for me.
Okay. So if you take
Kill me.
your skate and you put it behind your opponent's skate and pull backwards, kicking one of their feet out from under them, that's a slew foot.
Okay.
The other night, the Minnesota Wild, now that's bad on open ice because it makes it really hard to control your fall and you could potentially bop the back of your head on the ice, concuss yourself. It is super illegal in the NHL. Super illegal. And most of the time when it happens, you get called for what is called match misconduct, and you were tossed out of the game. It results in a major penalty and you not being able to come back, and usually the league will hand you a penalty, whether it's a fine or a suspension of some kind. So, last night, the Wild were playing the Nashville Predators, and Nashville rookie defenseman, is he a defenseman? No, he might be a winger. Zachary Leroux, spelled L-H-E-R-E-U-X.
Sounds about right.
French.
Yep.
Apparently he played in the QMJHL. And he has been suspended in that league, I want to say 9 times. One time for sticking his stick between the gaps in the glass and hitting a 16-year-old with it.
Well, why?
Apparently he's a dick.
Like I can only imagine that the kid was talking shit to him, but like, really? Are you that determined to cause violence that you gotta stick your stick through the fucking glass?
Is. So last night, the Wild were playing, and I believe it was I want to say it was the second period. LaRue came up behind Minnesota Wild captain, defenseman Jared Spurgeon, and performed what's called a double slew foot, where he took out both his feet and sent him careening into the boards, and it buckled one of his legs up underneath the when it hit the board, one of his legs buckled up under him in a way that your body is not meant to bend. And he was taken off the ice with unable to bear any weight on that leg, and he has gone for MRIs.
Yeah.
There is the potential, given his age, because he's like 35, I think, 34, 35. Spurgeon
Depending on how bad it is, yeah.
That could be his career.
Depending on how bad it is.
Depending on how bad it is, unfortunately, that could be Jared Spurgeon's career. He was given LaRue was given a match misconduct and was thrown out of the game. he has a telephone meeting in the upcoming days with the Department of Player Safety. So here's
Fair.
the deal. With a telephone meeting, the maximum amount of games that you can be suspended is 5. He's probably not even going to get that because he doesn't have a history of being suspended in the NHL yet. I would say he gets 2 games. I think it should be way more than that because it's an absolutely dirty, disgusting play. Now, here's the funny part. No matter how many games he gets, he'll be back on the ice the next time that Nashville and Minnesota play. And since the Department of Player Safety isn't going to handle this, I guarantee you that the gentleman nicknamed Moose in our locker room, Marcus Foligno, is going to deal with it. And if that kid leaves the game with all his teeth, I'll be fucking amazed.
I mean, there's a lot of factors that go into it, right? Like, we still have to wait and see how Spurgeon is, so we don't know 100% how bad anything is. Secondly, I understand where you're coming from, where it's really dirty, and so he should get more penalty or be more penalized. But if he doesn't have a history of penalty within the league, they should really only be looking within their league. They shouldn't be looking at outer leagues.
I see where all of that
actually
comes
think
from.
that's
Yeah.
okay. I'm actually okay with that. While it sucks, and while you can peg this as like a very early indication of if he doesn't peg right real fast, penalties will shoot up real fast on him probably.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I mean, I assume this is like gonna be more like, hey, this is your first real warning. Do it again, you're gonna get the fucking book, kind of thing.
Yeah, I could imagine that
That
if
kind of
they,
the idea that everyone gets one, you get one.
yeah,
Um,
I would, like I said,
and
I would
so
assume he's going to
yeah,
get probably 2 games for it.
yeah,
Um,
and as far as if he gets his shit kicked in, it's gonna come down to if he actually plays. And if, depending on how Spurgeon actually is, like the severity of
I kind of
Spurgeon's
agree
injury
with
will
that.
determine
Like,
the severity that he ends up
I
with.
think if I were Andrew Burnett, who is the Nashville coach, I might sit him the next time they play Minnesota to let tempers cool. Because it's like the 16th. It's literally up and around the corner. So it isn't very long from now. And that's the point. So I might sit him the next time that we play Minnesota because I really don't want him getting injured. And then the time after that we would play, that they would play, tempers might have cooled enough by then that there's probably going to be a fight, but they're probably not going to be looking to take his head off his body. Yeah, which I agree with 100%. Like, if Spurgeon is done for a while, if it's not career, but it's like he's out for the season now, we're going to be mad, but we can deal. And I think that maybe not next game, but the game after, there would be an appropriate, like, hey, kid, I'm going gloves with you. Just Foligno skate right up next to him. Hey, we're going gloves. You're
we're having a fight.
Yeah, you're either going to throw down or I'm going to clean your clock. How do you want to do this? Because you got to take your licks. And that I would respect. If he throws gloves and goes at it with Foligno, even if he gets his head stoved in, at least he's willing to take his lumps for doing something that he knew was wrong, and I would have some respect for that.
Yeah. We'll see.
So, all right, college football real quick. So the Sugar Bowl will be played at, I want to say 4 p.m. 3 or 4 p.m., somewhere in there. I don't remember if that's today or it's tomorrow, but apparently it got pushed off due to everything that happened in New Orleans.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So the Notre Dame-Georgia game had to be postponed. Ohio State stomped the bejesus out of Oregon. There wasn't much of a game there to be had. And Texas barely beats Arizona State. And I'm going to tell you right now, that Cam Skattebo, besides having a great name.
It's a name.
Oh, that's a great name.
I can confirm that is a name.
He's a beast, but Texas wins in double overtime. And unfortunately, Penn State does beat Boise State, and Ashton Genty falls 27 yards short of the college record for yards in a single season.
So close.
It has also come out now, moving into NFL, talking about records. It has come out that the Eagles will not play their starters in the last week of the season, which means Eric Dickerson's record continues to hold.
Dude, if I was Saquon, I'd be like, dude, are we serious? Just let me touch the ball a handful of times.
He had a conversation. He did a media thing afterwards, and it sounded like he was not happy, but he was also like, I kind of get it.
I'd still be like, nah, give me the ball at least
one. I'm there
Come
with you, but
give me the ball just like a handful of times. I promise, I'll be fine after that.
Yeah.
Give it to me.
All right, so.
Oh, did we also talk Brock Bowers? Right, he broke almost all the tight end records now at this point.
Yeah, basically, he's broken every tight end record there is. Yeah.
Yeah, like most receptions he just did. Most yards, I think, was also done.
Mm-hmm. And
most touchdowns done as well.
I believe so. And Lamar Jackson has broken the record for most rushing yards by a quarterback.
By a quarterback, yep.
Surpassing Michael Vick.
Finally, Jesus Christ.
I mean, and considering that he's just going to continue to set that. It's just dumb.
Yeah.
The amount that he's going to continue to set for that is going to be ridiculous.
It's going to be pretty hard to catch up to it, yeah.
Yeah. There's a couple of guys that might, I don't know if they'll catch
eventually
it.
At some point.
Yeah. Someone will catch it. Eventually at some
point. It'll happen.
I'd say Jaden Daniels has the best chance at it. If he continues
right now,
to play like he is.
Probably. Yeah. The way he moves is really fast.
Josh Allen might also get there eventually, depending on how long
I don't know if he'll ever do yards. I think he'll definitely do touchdowns.
Oh,
but I don't
definitely
know if
rushing touchdowns, because that dude, like, from
that dude loves getting in, like, the 15, 20-yard rushes for touchdowns.
He loves to run it and just run over people as he's doing it. Yeah. That dude's...
He's one of the few quarterbacks...
He's like, what is he, 6'4", 6'5"?
I think he's 6'5" or something like that. Like, well, I think he's like he's either 6'4", 6'5", like 240 pounds, isn't there, or something like that? Like, dude's actually fucking massive.
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, he's one of the few QBs that when you watch him run, he's one of the few QBs you're like, no, Josh, don't slide. Just keep going. Just keep going. You can run over people. Just take the hit, bro. Like, you're never really worried about him hurting himself, weirdly enough.
Yep. All right. There are a few injuries to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Because there are some people that are just done. Unfortunately, Jerome Ford is out for the Browns. He will not be playing this week. Kenny Pickett broke a rib. And he will not be playing, unfortunately.
Did he actually break a rib? I thought somewhere it said that he was actually going to be okay. And it was only cracked.
I thought I heard he broke a rib, but he may not have. He may just have bruised the bejesus out of it.
Yeah, I'll have to double check on that.
Yeah, but I know he got hurt.
Yeah, it was for the game, but it sounded like he was going to be able to play again. I'm just going to double check real quick.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I don't know what I'm talking about.
All right. The Commanders lost Biotish to an ankle injury. They also lost Marshawn Lattimore to a hamstring, but I think he's been out for a little while. And I also believe they had another guy who was out for a little bit due to stuff. And the Cowboys shut down officially now. CeeDee Lamb is done for the rest of the year with that shoulder injury. They don't want to risk him for next season. It is official. Jair Alexander is done for the season at this point. Christian Watson, I don't know if he'll be back for next week or not. Richardson is probably still going to be out for the Colts. Let's see here. Yeah, Pickett is still out with a rib injury currently, and I don't know what his status will be.
Yeah, so the Pickett ribs fracture is unconfirmed at this point.
Okay. I don't know if they're going to have him. I don't know if they're going to.
Cornerback.
Yeah,
they don't know yet.
I don't even know if they're going to try to.
All I know is that from the latest news is that he hasn't been on the practice field today, at least. So,
yeah. I was going to say it sounds like they've nicknamed the third string guy the Mormon Missile. And it sounds like he might be starting the next game for them at any rate.
Yeah.
So, and I don't. Again, it doesn't matter if they win or lose; they're locked into the 2 seed at this point.
Exactly. So I don't think they planned on playing Pickett anyways.
No, I wouldn't either. Just in case for some reason for the first playoff game you can't clear. Hurts from the concussion.
Exactly.
Yeah. Now there are rumors floating around right now. That supposedly for Detroit, they are expecting or hoping to possibly get back Montgomery and Khalif Raymond. Is that the guy's name? Yeah. Mm-hmm. They're hoping to get both of them back for the Minnesota game.
We'll see.
I don't know if they will or not. And that Brock Purdy hurt his elbow.
Ow.
While throwing.
Again. Nice.
Again, but it doesn't sound serious. It sounds like it's a sprain or something minor. So it doesn't sound like he's going to miss time or anything. The 49ers have been eliminated anyway. At any rate, that's kind of that. Let's talk about clinching. Oh, it is happening right now. Notre Dame and Georgia in the Sugar Bowl. Nice. They are playing right now, and it is 3-3. Also, college football-wise, for everybody who was saying that South Carolina or Alabama should have gone in over some of those teams, Alabama got beat by Illinois, or not Alabama. South Carolina got beat by Illinois, and Alabama got beat by Michigan.
Yeah.
Eat it.
Sometimes it happens.
Yeah, I could care less.
Yeah.
All right. Playoff clinching scenarios. All right.
I was going to say most spots have actually already been clinched.
Most spots are clinched, but here's the ones that we're still keeping our eyeballs on. And I want to talk about it. So, the newest clincher was the Rams. They clinched. I forget who lost, but somebody lost, and it allowed the Rams to clinch and eliminated Seattle.
Arizona.
Oh, was it Arizona?
Arizona. Remember?
Yep.
Because the Rams beat Arizona.
Mm-hmm. So, the latest sets of clinching. If Denver wins this week, they clinch. With a Denver loss and a Miami win, Miami clinches. With a Denver loss and a Miami loss and a Cincinnati win, Cincinnati clinches. If all three lose, Denver clinches. Okay. Whew. Got that out of the way.
Got the three-way horse way out of the way.
Huh?
Got a three-man horse race out of the way.
Yep. Now, the last big ones. This week, Detroit and Minnesota are playing for all the marbles in the NFC. Whoever wins the upcoming Lions-Vikings game, Vikings at Lions, will be the number 1 seed in the NFC and win the NFC North. Whoever loses will be the 5th seed in the NFC. Okay. The only other one that's up for grabs, Tampa and Atlanta for the NFC South. If Tampa wins against New Orleans this week, Tampa clinches. If they lose and Atlanta beats Carolina, they clinch. If Atlanta loses and Tampa loses, Tampa wins. Atlanta needs a Tampa tie or loss in order and an Atlanta win in order to clinch playoffs at this point. So they have to be becoming the biggest fans of the Saints, which is going to hurt their soul. But that's the last clinching scenario, and we're going to be very interested to see how all of this plays out. I think the AFC race is probably the most interesting, but I will also say the 1 seed for the NFC is super interesting. Because one team you would predict everybody knew was going to be there. The other team, nobody gave a prayer in hell to them being this good. Except one guy on the Rich Eisen show. who let's be honest, he got the losses wrong, but he got the record of the fact that they were competing for the 1 seed right.
Nick, what's wrong with your brain?
But he got the teams we would lose to wrong.
Yes.
But he got everything else right. I don't get it.
Don't ask questions.
All right, so yeah, it's pretty interesting going into this final week. I don't know. The only team that we have confirmed that is sitting their starters, 100% confirmed, is the Eagles.
Nope. There's one other that is as well.
Did the Chiefs confirm?
From everything I have read, it is practically confirmed that the Chiefs are.
That would be the smartest thing for them to do, but yeah. I hadn't heard 100% that they were going to do that.
From everything I have seen, like, the people that are reporting that they're sitting are, like the people that you normally see leaking stuff that are correct, like Ian Rappaport. Like, yeah. It's like, okay, then they probably are doing it then.
It wouldn't surprise me.
Yes.
But it also wouldn't surprise me if they started them because it's a division game. And the Broncos.
Yeah, they could. Again, everything that I've been reading is more or less confirming that they're going to sit their starters.
Yeah.
If they don't, it'll be like they'll let them play for a quarter and then take them out,
Yeah.
Because they've done that before, too.
That wouldn't surprise me either. So we'll see how all of that goes. I also learned a very interesting couple of things that I thought were interesting and fun about Broncos starter Bo Nix.
Oh, okay.
So there is currently a wide receiver at Oregon, Tez Washington, I believe his name is.
Okay.
That is Bo Nix's adopted brother. The actual Nix family adopted him when they were in high school together.
Oh, okay.
So he is literally an adopted brother. And then he has another younger brother, Caleb Nix, who plays safety for Clemson.
Oh, okay.
So I think it would be funny if Denver were to draft Tez Washington, reunite the brothers, and then eventually draft Caleb Nix as well. Have all three brothers form a Megazord.
No. They won't be the Denver Broncos, they'll be the Denver Knicks.
Yes!
No.
Nix that!
No. Oh, no. You can't do the Kirk Cousins thing on top of it. We don't need that. We don't need that.
Oh, okay. Outside of that, the only other little piece of football news I have is that it is confirmed that both Riverboat Ron Rivera and Rex Ryan are going to interview for the Jets head coaching job.
Didn't Ron Rivera go away because he had like cancer?
Doesn't mean you can't come back from that.
I know, but he made it sound like he had like no interest in coming back after he left. He's like, yeah, I need to focus on my health and everything. I'm out.
He probably focused on his health, realized how bored he was, and decided to come back.
Because I was about to say, after 1 year, bro, maybe I don't know if that's enough time to recover from cancer, my guy. But maybe I'm wrong. I don't know.
I don't
What do I
know.
know?
But
The fuck do I
apparently,
know?
Ron Rivera and Rex Ryan are going to interview.
I mean, Rex Ryan, I get. Rex Ryan's been out of the game for a while. He's probably been watching it and been like, I can come back and
this
fix
season,
this fucking
after they
shit ass team.
after they fired the coach, he's been openly on national media advocating for them to bring him back.
You know what? At this point, just do it for the memes, man. Why not? Like, what worse could Rex Ryan do?
Hold on,
Like,
hold on.
he wasn't even.
If he comes back, can he please bring back Sanchez as his quarterback's coach?
Ooh, I don't think Aaron Rodgers would be for that. To be honest with you, if Aaron Rodgers comes back,
I mean, that's if Aaron Rodgers comes back. But I want to see Sanchez just because this is a dude who currently has a tattoo of his wife wearing a Sanchez jersey.
why?
When he drafted him, that's what he did. He's like, I am so in on Sanchez that I'm going to do this.
No. Even I wouldn't do that.
Real quick,
No.
before we move into reviewing, I got a question for you.
No.
What, outside of the ones that are already going to be available,
Mm-hmm.
because they've already fired coaches and they've got interns
Mhm.
in place, what other head coaching jobs do you think are going to come available?
Well, let me look at the teams.
Here, I'll give you the obvious ones. You ready? I'll
No,
give
no,
you ones.
I got it pulled up. We're good.
Okay.
Give me a second. I don't think Cleveland's will be up. I think Kevin Stefanski's done enough goodwill there that they'll give him one more shot. Bears we've already covered. I think the Panthers are fine. Obviously Jacksonville. We've discussed that one before.
All right.
I actually think New England. I think Gerard Mayo's been on a hot seat recently, and it's gotten really hot really fast.
Well, he's also said some things that have made people question things, and then
Exactly.
the biggest thing you have is because there's been rumors, and I want to put this out here, that the head coach of Ohio State, Ryan Day, if he doesn't win a natty, they're going to fire him because he didn't beat Michigan, and he's looked like an idiot for a couple of years on that. And currently, there is an Ohio State alumni that has coached at the NFL level that would be available that they'd like to bring in by the name of Mike Vrabel.
Yep.
So if you are the Patriots and you have one shot, because you know he's not hanging around another year, you have one shot to get a Vrabel.
Right.
Are you gonna pull the trigger on getting rid of Mayo and bringing in Vrabel? That's the question.
Now the thing is, I don't think they will, just because the Patriots organization, like the guys that own it, like they tend to be the Kraft family. They're very patient.
They are very patient, and
because of that, they might actually miss out on Vrabel because of that. I can
agree.
see that. Weirdly enough, probably actually not as weirdly enough because you probably are in the same boat I am. The Colts job. Steichen has no idea what the fuck's going on there.
He looked
the Colts
good
job.
last year. He came in the first year, looked pretty good, almost won that division, and now I don't know what happened this year. The whole thing just fell apart.
I assume you saw the video with Pat McAfee where he just tore him apart because,
Yes,
like,
100%. There's something wrong.
if
with
any
the
of those
culture.
rumors are even close to true, then like they need to move on from the coach to find somebody else.
Yeah.
Like, that's a huge problem.
100%.
I'm actually going to clear Brian Dable. I think the Giants have enough faith in what he's trying to do that they will let him skate on a really bad season like this because there's a lot of flashes in the pan that look good.
I will also say that it's probably not Dable that goes first. I would guess it's Joe Shane, the
Yeah.
GM, that'll get the axe.
hmm New Orleans is we've already talked about before.
Well, they've already
Um,
fired their coach, and they've
that's what I'm
got an
saying. We've already
interim. So
addressed
yeah,
them. Yeah. Um, Tennessee, I would argue, is potentially heated, but I don't think he'll get fired because this is his first season.
exactly.
So I would be surprised by that. However, I am actually going to put Demeco Ryans from the Texans on here just because of like, dude, the expectations coming into this season based on what you have. I don't think you'll get fired for this season, but you'll be in a hot water next season just because of like the expectations versus reality. The last, like even the wins they've had have not been good. Think about the
So
last 5, 6 weeks. They've been garbage.
so here's the question: did we maybe overrate them based on a very successful that should not have happened season last year? Because they were maybe playing beyond their means last year, and then this year is more closer to what you would expect.
Based on what we saw last year and based on what is on paper, they should have actually improved. They got a lot of good pieces during the offseason. They actually realistically should have gotten better to where they would have at least evened back out to being a decent football team. Instead, they somehow got actually worse, and they've gotten worse through the season. I don't think it's just because of that. I think there's something else going on.
Well, there's
What it is,
also
I don't
injury.
know.
There's been a lot of injury bug and everything
There have
else
been
there.
some injuries, yes, but they actually were fairly fresh for most of the year. They only got recently hit by a couple injury bugs, to be honest with you. Um, I I don't know. I'm not gonna say he's on the table, but I will say that in my mind, he's starting in hot water next season. Because if they start off again really badly, there's a chance that people are gonna be like, "Dude, what the fuck's going on? What's going on?" Denver, I think, is okay.
Oh yeah.
Miami is an interesting one. Um, I think if they make playoffs, they'll be fine. If they don't make playoffs, though, there are going to be some people who might look at Mike McDaniel and go, hot water. Not necessarily, again, not fire this year, but we'll be starting off with a foot in the bucket next year kind of thing.
Can I give you a
He's,
weird name that's been being bandied about, and I don't know why, but it was enough that ownership has had to come in and say we're not letting him go.
oh,
Which
yeah, I was just getting to San Francisco. I was going to say there's no way.
see,
Like, in my mind, it would not be because they let him go that that the decision would happen. It's because he would decide to leave.
yes,
And in my brain, I do think it is in the best interest of both parties to separate at this point because I think there is some issues that are just obviously not working well in my brain. At the same time, I can understand. Well, yeah, it's just a down year. We've had so many good years. You know,
well, and it's
it's
funny
just it's not that big of a deal.
during his tenure, they either miss the playoffs entirely
Yeah,
or make the NFC title game of the Super Bowl.
yeah,
That's it.
exactly. So
There's
it's
no in
like,
between.
and so that's what I'm saying. Like, okay, you had a bum year. It happens. You
You
had some
also had to deal with a
injuries.
shitload of injuries.
Yeah, like I can understand him leaving just to go somewhere else. That would be a good opportunity, but I don't see anywhere else being a better opportunity than where he's at. So
I mean,
no,
the only things I could say, and you're gonna laugh at me if I say it. Um, there are a couple of teams that if they wanted to pry him free and he wanted to leave, and if they backed the Brinks truck up for him, like I mean, super money. There's a few places he could go that already have a halfway decent team put together. They just need someone who can run the damn thing.
I mean Bears, but they don't have enough money.
That was one of the people I was going to suggest is if they backed the Brinks truck up to his house.
Jets, but I don't think there's enough money in the world to get him to go there.
No, I don't think there's enough money to get him to go to the Jets. Um, I don't think the
Patriots, maybe they
Jags.
have a lot of money.
Yeah, but I don't think the Jags are in a position. The only other team that might, if they
Maybe.
get rid of their coach, is probably the one coming up that San Francisco usually treats like crap in the playoffs every year, and that would be the Cowboys.
Yeah. Well, Cowboys. Yeah, I mean, I just don't think we've all heard that Jerry Jones is
I don't know if
getting
he
rid of
will or
him.
not, but if Jerry
I just
wanted a primo super offensive
yeah,
mind,
if he thought he could buy him, he would.
yeah,
I think the reason why you don't hear about it is because he doesn't think he can buy him. Obviously,
I don't think he.
like
And I think that's the key there. I agree
yeah.
with you. I don't think he can either.
However, I do want to say Raiders. Man, I don't want to throw the new guy under the bus, but like I have questions.
Yeah,
I don't I don't know
yeah.
if he's shown me enough to show me that he can be a head coach. Granted, the pieces that he had to start with this season, not great. Whether that's his fault or the GM's fault, it's more on the GM, obviously, but still.
I think if I were
Yeah.
the Raiders, the first thing I'm doing this offseason when I draft, I'm drafting a quarterback.
Well, yeah. If no matter who it is, you got to get a quarterback.
Yep. Yep.
Which is why, like, you don't want to win this week, and you hope that like Tennessee somehow beats fucking Houston, and you hope that somehow New England somehow beats the Bills just because the Bills decide to sit everyone or some
Which they
shit.
could.
They could. I still think their backups would beat them though. And you're hoping the Giants can beat the Eagles because the Eagles are using their backups.
The Eagles are going to be using their backups.
Maybe the Giants pull off another win. Um, and then you can move up. Then maybe you go for a Shador Sanders. I'm not saying that that's the right move. I'm just saying I could see it. It's the Raiders.
I could see it as well. Um, there's another couple of guys that I wouldn't mind, depending if they come out, wouldn't mind going there. Dylan Gabriel's obviously
Strange.
one. He'll be out. Um, Drew Aller, I think, is pretty good.
What?
What?
What? Oh, Bird.
Oh, talking bird. Okay. But yeah,
Turkey.
there are some interesting things there. We will be getting into our at the end of the season. Obviously, we're going to look at the draft as it comes up, and we're going to grade. We're going to look at the players. We won't give them grades, but we will give them like rankings as we see them in each position. And we will do our own mock drafts, obviously. All right.
What?
You ready to look back? You ready to
What?
look back at last week?
What?
What?
What, Loki?
By the way, there is a game that we neither of us watched or took, and I literally wrote in that we both won because we picked the correct team, but everybody still loses for having to have watched the game. Can you tell me what game you think that was?
Was it the game on Thursday?
Yes.
Sounds about right.
Seattle, are we talking the same one? Seattle at Chicago?
Yeah, Chicago. Yeah.
Yeah. That game, all the scoring was done in the first half, and it was all field goals.
Yes.
That was
Missed
one
nothing.
of the worst games I've ever seen in my life.
I don't even know if it qualifies as a game.
I don't think it was either.
At least not the second half, anyways.
No, not the second half. At all. But anyway, why don't you start? And why don't you talk about your first game, which was Broncos at Bengals? Because I picked the Broncos. I picked the Broncos, and you picked the Bengals. Let us know how we did on that.
Well, the Bengals won 30-24 in overtime. Let's talk about stats, and then we'll talk about what happened in the game because there were some things that happened at the end of the game. Actually, there were some things here. Here's the first thing I want to know. The first half ended with a score of 3-7, and the score ended 30-24. So I want you to imagine that I'm sitting there watching the game, going, "This game is really fucking boring, so boring that I legitimately fall asleep partway through because I just am so bored." And then I wake up and go, 3-7. God damn, this kind of shit sucks. I might not finish this because this game sucks, but I need to keep paying attention because I need to pay attention. And then we come back, and then quarter 3 goes 7-3, and I'm going, okay. We got more scoring in one quarter, or about the same scoring in one quarter that we did in a whole half. So improvements already. Quarter 4 ended up being 14-14. Holy shit, the last quarter was insane. So let's talk stats. Bo Nix, 24 of 31, 219 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 pick. Rushing, we had Audric Estime, 9 rushing attempts for 24 yards. Bo Nix, 7 for 31. And Jaleel McLaughlin, 10 for 69. Receiving, we have Cortland Sutton, 5 for 55 and 1 touchdown. We'll get to that touchdown. And Marvin Mims Jr., 8 for 103 and 2 touchdowns. Had an insane game. Marvin Mims did fumble the ball, but did not lose it. No interceptions from the looks of it. DJ Jones had a half a sack. DeAndre Tillman had a sack. John Franklin Myers had half a sack. Jonathan Cooper had 1.5 sacks. Zach Allen had 3.5 sacks. Jesus, bro. 7 total sacks were recorded for Denver. Will Lutz 1 for 1 on field goals for a long of 30 and 3 for 3 on extra points. And kickoffs, we have Marvin Mims Jr., 1 reception for 27-yard kickoff return. Let's go talk about Cincinnati stats real quick. So, Bengals, we have Joe Burrow, 39 of 49 for 412 yards, 3 touchdowns, no picks. Rushing, we have Chase Brown, 20 for 67, Joe Burrow, 4 for 25, and a touchdown. And Khalil Herbert, 4 for 23. Receiving, we had Andre, I forgot how to say your last name. 3 receptions for
Yoshivash.
Yeah, Yoshi. I'm never gonna remember that. It's so weird. 3 receptions for 59 yards. Chase Brown 4 for 24. Jamar Chase 9 for 102. Mike Gesicki 10 for 86, and T Higgins 11 for 131 and 3 touchdowns. Oh man. So we have T Higgins with a fumble and a loss. Unfortunate. Jermaine Pratt had an interception. Cedric Johnson had a sack. Joseph Osai had half a sack. Trey Hendrickson had half a sack for a total of 2 sacks on the night. Cade York 1 for 2 on field goals for a long of 22 and 3 for 3 on extra points. Kickoff return was done by Jermaine Burton. He had 3 for a long of 38. And Isaiah Williams returned 1 punt for 4 yards. So let's talk about the end of the game. Because that's the most interesting part of this entire fucking game, was that fourth quarter. Cincinnati ends up taking the lead. I believe it was 24 to, what was it? What would have been at that point? 17? Is that right?
I don't remember.
I think so. I think it was 24 to 17. I'm thinking in my head. That sounds right. And it was like they left just enough clock on the field for the Denver Broncos to receive the kickoff, march down the field just enough, with just enough time. I don't think they. I seriously, if I let me go back here, let me check the fourth quarter, because I seriously do not believe they left a whole lot of time on the clock at this point. Let me see here. Uh, 17:24, and then let me see here. How much clock was on the? It looks like there was about a little over a minute. They had about a minute to move down the field, which is insane. Hold on. Let's make sure this is the right one. Yeah. So basically, they have a minute to move down the field. He gets a couple good passes off, um, but the big one is that he launches he launches a ball to Marvin Mims about I think it was about 25 yards from the looks of this, from what they're saying. Anyways, it looked longer than that, but he launched one up into double coverage and somehow came down with the ball in the end zone with just an insane catch. In fact, they had to actually take it to replay because they were concerned if he actually caught the ball and actually retained possession all the way through while sliding out of bounds or not. He absolutely did. So they ended up scoring. Now this was a contentious point. I was thinking that they should have gone for the 2 points. Um, it looks like Bo Nix actually wanted to go for the 2 points. Ultimately, Sean Payton decided to go for just the single to tie it up. They left, I think, only 8. Yeah, they left 8 seconds on the clock for the Bengals. The Bengals were able to receive the kickoff, but obviously they weren't going to be able to do anything. So then it goes into overtime, and the Bengals win the the toss. So you're thinking, oh man, that's a great start for the Bengals. And then the Bengals start moving down the field, and you're like, holy shit, the Bengals are going to win. They get, I think, hold on, I want to see the exact yardage. They get pushed out, I think. Let me see here. What yardage were they on for this? Oh, that's right. That's right. I forgot how bad the start of it was. Okay, so the beginning, the beginning of overtime, Bengals end up having to punt it to the Broncos. The Broncos end up having to punt it right back to the Bengals. The Bengals move down the field, and they're within field goal range. They end up getting within for a field goal of 33 yards. And you're thinking that's a chip shot for pretty much any fucking field goal kicker ever. 33-yard
Except
field goal. Cade York fucking doinks it on the fucking left upright and ends up missing the field goal. So you're going, oh shit. Now the Broncos get the ball back, have to punt it, and the Bengals are like, all right, we're moving down the field. They end up, I think it's within a couple plays. Yeah, they get a 16-yard pass, a 13-yard pass, and then they're just like, all right, we need to send another deep one. They get another deep one, 31 yards. Joe Burrow to T. Higgins. It's a fantastic catch, by the way.
beautiful.
And then, they decide, fuck it, we're not going for the fucking field goal. We'll just score the goddamn touchdown. We're not trusting the kicker again. And they end up busting it in. Joe Burrow throws it to T. Higgins again for a 3-yard touchdown. It was, yeah, it's the ending of the game. So the overtime game quite literally replicated the entire game in general, where the first part of overtime was super boring because they punted back and forth a bunch with failed field goals and more punting happening, and then finally some explosive plays at the very end to sear it up. And the funniest part is they almost played the entire overtime quarter. Like, I think the game ended with like a minute and a half left. Like, it's, uh,
I literally remember texting you going, is this going to be a tie?
the game that wouldn't end. Yeah, that was crazy.
Yep. All right. I'm going to talk now about another game. This one had some of its own problems, but more for one team than the other. Um, Remember, I took Panthers at Buccaneers. You did pick the Panthers to beat the Buccaneers. Um,
It was a choice.
it was a choice. It wasn't the greatest of choices. I
It
did
was a
pick the
choice.
Buccaneers to win, and they did to the tune 48-14. As Baker decided that he was inevitable, had just literally like grabbed the Panthers and just started beating them. Um, Quite literally, I have here because I did take notes. I don't know why I bothered to take notes, but I did. I literally started with Bucks start with the ball and move right down the field, which they did. And that
And they
Bucky
did it
Irving
again.
may be the best running back drafted in the last draft. Because he's a rookie, and he looks really damn good.
No, he is. Well, there's still quite a few of those rookie QB or rookie running backs that haven't gotten a lot of the ball yet, though.
I know. But as of right now, I'm looking at it going, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
And then the Panthers basically answer right back behind Bryce Young's arm. Young throws this absolute dime to Thielen on the sidelines to help move the ball, and he absolutely just threads the needle and gets it into Thielen in the end zone for a touchdown. It was God. I
Yeah,
was
it was
like,
great. It was
oh
good. Yeah, it was good.
yeah, and I thought, oh, we're gonna be in for an aerial game today. This is gonna be back and forth, up and down the field. Nobody wants to play defense. Um, then of course, there's a little bit of like the Bucks would get a couple of field goals, and another touchdown. Cansey would absolutely decimate. There was a point which he just came in unblocked and plastered Young across the field. I could definitely tell that the Panthers missed Chuba Hubbard. They couldn't get anything going on the ground without him. Blackshear is definitely, there's a reason he's not a starter. But yeah, they couldn't find any room without Hubbard to run the ball. Everybody knew the ball had to go up. So, as we mentioned with the way Tampa Bay tends to play, is if they don't respect your run, they're just going to start coming after you, which is eventually what happened. I believe it was 27-7, and then finally Young hits Thielen 40 yards out for a touchdown with about 50 seconds to go in the half. Absolutely gorgeous throw. 14-27 at the half, and I was like, okay, you get the ball back after halftime. You just scored. You're only down 2 scores. If you can go down and score another quick one and make it 21-27, you still got a game on your hands. Then you're only down 6. That did not happen. The Tampa D was absolutely fired up to start the second half. Diaby comes in with a sack. At one point, the Panthers go to punt it. Tampa blocks it, and they go with a scoop and score off the blocked punt. I literally wrote down, I'm not sure there's a point to play in the fourth quarter. Because by that point in time, I believe they were up 41 to... Going into the fourth, I want to say they were up 41-14. Yeah. By the end of the third quarter, they were up 41-14. And I was like, yeah, this is just over, man. This is embarrassing to watch for anybody at this point. The Panthers did not score in the second half at all. But to talk about the box scores, Bryce Young was 15 of 28 for 203 yards and 2 touchdowns, sacked 5 times. On the ground, Raheem Blackshear carried 8 times for 20 yards. Boone carried 2 for 11. It was bad. In the receiving area, Adam Thielen turning back the clock. 5 catches, 110 yards, 2 touchdowns. That's numbers we would have seen back in his heyday with the Vikings. So I'm very happy about that. Jalen Coker caught 2 balls for 35 yards. Xavier Legette caught 5 for only 28. David Moore caught 1 for 17. Yeah, they didn't have a whole lot of people doing things. Bryce did fumble twice, but he recovered 1, and Blackshear recovered the other. Defensively, Wooten is leading the way. He had 14 total tackles, 7 of them solo. Jacob E. Windman and Jaden Crometti, they combined for a sack, and Jadeveon Clowney gets the other sack for only 2 of them. Pinheiro did miss a field goal. On the other side, Baker went off. 27 of 32, 359 yards, 5 touchdowns. No interceptions, only sacked twice. Bucky Irving, 20 carries and 113 yards. Sean Tucker carried 8 for 39. Rashad White, 6 for 30. Mike Evans had 8 catches for 97 yards and 2 touchdowns. Bucky Irving caught another 4 balls for 77 yards. Devin Colt caught 3 for 52. Jalen McMillan caught 5 for 51. Payne Durham. Oh, McMillan also had 2 touchdowns. Payne Durham caught 2 for 36 and another touchdown. It was just the sacks came via Logan Hall, Yaya Diaby, Anthony Nelson, Kalijah Cansey, and Chris Braswell. Um, McMillan also kicked 2 field goals with a long of 34, and he made all 6 of his extra points. Like, this was utter domination by Tampa, who knew that after getting beat by the Cowboys, they needed a win, and they went out and got their win. They knew they needed to at least stay in the race, if not take over the division, depending on what happened later on between Atlanta and Washington. We'll get to that game. But yeah, this game was just Tampa turned it all the way up and was like, nope, we're not losing this. And Baker was like, I'm not going to let us lose this, so I'm going to throw 5 touchdowns. Fuck you. And it worked out for them. So I got nothing else to say about that one. It was fun to watch, though, up until it got boring. The other game that you took was Titans at Jaguars.
I did indeed.
And you took the Titans and I took the Jags. You want to tell us a little about that?
No, I don't. Jacksonville won 20-13. You seem offended that I also was talking while you were on me. You look really offended. He's giving me the stink eye. This game actually wasn't as, I was right in the fact that it's not as boring as as people thought it would be, but it also wasn't really good either. It was just kind of like an okay football game. Like, I wouldn't say anything super crazy happened, and I wouldn't say anything really unexpected happened. I mean, Tennessee put up a good fight. Jacksonville played a harder game, played a little better, and that's really what the difference was. Like, it's either team actually had a legitimate chance at this, in my opinion. So, anyways, let's go ahead and talk about stats. We got Mason Rudolph, 19 for 31 for 193 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 pick. Rushing, we have Tyjae Spears, 20 for 95. Mason Rudolph, 5 for 23. Julius Chestnut, 3 for 17. Receiving, we have Calvin Ridley, 5 for 84. Chig Okonkwo, 5 for 42. Nick Vannett, 1 for 8 and a touchdown. Nick Westbrook-Akine, 3 for 37. Tyler Boyd, 2 for 14.
Mm-hmm.
Mason Rudolph fumbled the ball, but did not lose it. Tyjae Spears also fumbled the ball and did not lose it. No interceptions from the looks of it. James Lynch had a sack. Jerome Baker had a sack. Kicking, we have Matthew Wright, 2 for 2 for a long of 39 and a 1 for 1 on extra points. Then we have kickoff returns done by Julius Chestnut. He had 3 for a long of 24. And punting, Mason Kinsey was returning their punts, and he had 1 for 9. Let's go take a look at the Jaguars. Mac Jones, 15 of 22, 174 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So, interestingly enough, I'm kind of curious. Do you think Mac Jones is actually starter level, or would you say that he's more starting bridge quarterback?
I would say that if you were in a desperate need of a quarterback, Jones could start for you.
I'm not gonna lie to you.
He's currently better than anything they've gotten in Vegas right now.
I was gonna say he's better than anything they got in Vegas. He's probably better than anything they got in the Browns room because they seem to not want to play Winston now. And DTR certainly is not better than Mac Jones.
No, and I wanted to bring this up. Apparently, their other guy, They're $100 million+
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently, they are renegotiating his contract, and they're gonna,
I saw that. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
which means
Restructuring the
it's
deal.
yeah, restructuring that deal, which I think is a smart move for them.
True. But yeah, so it's just I just find it interesting because we know Jacksonville's going to go back to Trevor Lawrence when he gets
Mm-hmm.
healthy.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Mac Jones has done enough to show that maybe if you really need a quarterback and you can't get one in the draft, he's got talent. He's got the ability.
I agree. I agree.
So there might be some teams out there that might take that shot depending on where they end up in the draft. So
I actually 100% agree. Um, a team that I think would be interesting again, as we've brought them up before. I think the Seahawks would be a very interesting destination for a
if
guy like
Gino
Mac
doesn't go,
Jones.
yeah, yeah.
Yep. I think that would be fun to see. Maybe even the Saints,
I was gonna say if the Rams retire Stafford, or if he retires.
the Rams. If they don't want to go with, like, if they want him as a bridge for a few years, while they get a guy like Quinn Ewers or something ready.
Yep.
Yep. I'm not saying that that's a bad thing either.
Rushing, we have Jacksonville rushing Travis Etienne 15-49. Tank Bigsby 11 for 33. Mac Jones 6 for 22. Receiving, we have Brian Thomas Jr., the only good thing on this team right now. 7 receptions for 91 yards and a touchdown. That dude's a beast, man. Um, Parker Washington 3 for 31 and a touchdown. Travis Etienne 1 for 26. No fumbles. Devin Lloyd had 1 interception. Josh Hines Allen had a sack. Mason Smith had a sack. Trayvon Walker had a sack for a total of 3 sacks on the night. Logan, nope. Hold on, kicking. Where is it? There we go. Cam Little 2 for 2 for a long of 48 and 2 for 2 on extra points. Devin Duvernay had kickoff returns. He had 2 for a long of 32. And he also returned punts for a long of 9. So overall, the game was decent. It was, it was kind of an average, decent game between a quarterback of Mason Rudolph over on the Tennessee Titans, going up against a Mac Jones-led Jaguars. Not something I would have expected to say at the beginning of the season, but here we are nonetheless. It turned out to be an interesting game, but not for because it was actually interesting, but because it wasn't as bad of a train wreck. And so I'm almost kind of disappointed because I was expecting worse, but it was just kind of okay.
The other team that I just thought of, the Titans could use a Mac Jones.
They could use the Mac Jones. I thought about it too, but I was like, I don't know if they'll let them do that.
Levis for Jones.
Oh no.
Make Levis the backup in Jacksonville.
Tennessee just keeps rooting quarterbacks. Don't do it, Jones.
All right. We're going to talk a little bit about another game before we loop back around and talk about our favorite game of the week. The one that gave us the most heart palpitations of any game.
Yeah, for you maybe.
Oh,
I was 100% convinced that we were not gonna have a problem.
I was convinced of that until the fourth quarter.
I'm serious. Even through the fourth quarter, I was like, I'm not worried.
All right, so I'm going to talk about Atlanta and Washington. We did both pick Washington to win this one, and we were both correct. It did take them till overtime, though, but they did pull it out 30-24. Jaden Daniels is that guy, man. Dear Lord. I think my notes on this are essentially, I didn't try to keep track of scoring plays or anything, but there were things that I noticed. Penix is, from what I've seen, he looks decent. But what he needs to learn is to take a little off his deep throws sometimes. He's overthrowing his receivers on those deep balls far too often. There were a couple of times that I saw that they had steps on defenders, and he just missed them by a yard or two deep. And you're just like, guy, we get it. Your arm is stupid strong. Take a little bit off it and try to hit your receiver. The other thing I noticed is that Washington does definitely need a defensive upgrade, especially on their defensive line. They did not nearly get after Penix enough. There wasn't nearly enough pressure being put on him. They definitely need an edge rusher. I don't think they'll be in a position to take one of the top edge rushers, but they definitely need to get one this draft. Would be my recommendation for them. The other thing I noticed in this game, the officials really needed to swallow their flags because they were flagging. They were like, "You breathed wrong, flag.
Flag.
I don't like your hair, flag."
Flag.
Yeah, it was bad. There were way too many flags in this game, and it really took me out of the flow of the game. There was one catch by Pitts that he just flat missed, and I was like, why isn't he making those catches? And then he made one later, and I went, oh, okay, never mind. He is making them, just not frequently enough for my favorite thing. And Washington won by essentially running over Atlanta. The game was a lot more back and forth than you would expect. They ended the first half with Washington up 17-7 after a field goal. And then with Atlanta up 17-7. Washington came out and started storming in the second half. And they actually would eventually take the lead. And then, of course, Atlanta would march downfield and tie it. And then with about 2:42 left, Washington would finally win the game behind Jaden Daniels. Talking about stats real quick. On the Atlanta side, Penix was 19 of 35. Not great, but you're a rookie. I can understand it. 223 yards, a touchdown, a pick, and he was only sacked twice. Bijan carried 17 times for 90 yards and 2 touchdowns. Algier, 3 for 19. MacLeod, Ray MacLeod did carry once for 14 yards. And Penix only scrambled twice and got about 3 yards out of it. What I will say is that Atlanta's being smart. Penix offers a little bit more mobility than Kirk does, so you can do some bootlegs and stuff with him that you can't with Kirk. But you don't want him running around like Jaden because of those knee surgeries. Apparently, before the draft, he sent all the GMs a letter. And it said, I will undergo whatever tests you want. I will go any x-ray, any MRI you want for my knee. That's fine. We'll do it. But the only thing you really need to do is hook me up to an EKG because the only thing that matters with me is my heart. I like that. He's kind of funny. It's kind of cute. It's it's a little bit lame, but at the same time, like, you can get it. Receiving wise, Drake London, 7 catches, 106 yards. Pitts, 4 for 44 and a touchdown. Mooney, 2 for 37. Ray MacLeod, 1 for 13, etc. There were some fumble issues, but they did not lose any. Penix did fumble twice, but he got one back, and Dahlman grabbed the other one. Robinson also fumbled, but fell on his own ball. Defensively, Jesse Bates III led the way. 12 tackles, 7 solo. He did get a sack. J.D. Bertrand wound up with a sack. Matthew Judon wound up with a sack. Arnold Ebatike wound up with a sack. And David Onyemata wound up with a sack. So if you're counting, that's 5 of them. Caden Ellis also did pick off Daniels. Outside of that, nothing else major. Riley Patterson missed a field goal, but he also hit one from 39, and he hit all 3 of his extra points. Jaden Daniels on the Washington side went 24 of 36 for 227 yards, 3 touchdowns and a pick, sacked 5 times, still managed to run 16 times for 127 yards. Good God. Brian Robinson Jr. ran 13 times for 60 yards. Chris Rodriguez Jr. ran 5 times for 16 yards and a touchdown. Receiving Olamide Zacchaeus, 8 catches, 85 yards and a tutty. Zach Ertz, 6 for 72 and 2 touchdowns. Unfortunately, I don't know what's up with Terry this year, but only 1 for 5. So Scary Terry hadn't been so scary this year.
Actually, most of the year he's been pretty good. Just this game, he wasn't as active for some reason.
I've noticed that sometimes he vanishes. Every couple of games, he just disappears.
Yeah, most of this back half of the season, I have him on my roster. So most of this back half of the season, he's actually been pretty good. He's had a couple games where he's been bad, but he's overall better than he was last year.
Jamison Crowder did fumble but recovered it. Leading the way on defense was Quan Martin with 8 total tackles, 7 of them solo. Dorrance Armstrong and Dante Fowler Jr. both had sacks. The interception was from Quan Martin. Outside of that, Zane Gonzalez hit a field goal from 31, and they were 3 of 3 on extra points. Washington locks in the playoffs by beating the Falcons. They win 30-24. Very, very happy with that. They played a hell of a game. I think that was fun. Okay. Green Bay at Minnesota. We both picked Minnesota. We're both right. They win 25-27 over
They
the
smacked
Packers.
the shit out of them. To be blunt, like that score makes it sound like it was actually close, but it really wasn't.
It wasn't until the fourth quarter. Literally, we went into the fourth quarter leading 27-10.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. It should have been higher. We missed 2 field goals.
We missed 2 field goals from Reichard. He bounced. One of them was short and bounced off the crossbar, and the other one bounced off the right upright.
Yep.
And I was like, Reichard! And we were just talking all this good shit about you.
Disappointment.
Yeah, very much so. I'll say there were a couple of times in this game where I was like, where's the Green Bay defense?
Did for real.
That first touchdown to Jalen Naylor for 31 yards. I was trying to...
like no one within like 20 yards.
Nobody within like 20 yards of him. He was so open.
Crazy.
I don't even think he expected to be that wide open.
I have no idea.
That Jordan Addison one in the third quarter, he stopped like he was gonna do a little in route or a little comeback, and then he popped back outside and around, and the defender was totally caught flat-footed on it.
Oh yeah.
I will say Reichard did hit a 50-yarder as time expired in the second quarter. That I was like, okay, I'm kind of happy with that. Although there were like, at first, like I think it was gonna be longer, and then we missed it, but Green Bay false started.
No, they technically it was because on defense, remember it's offsides.
Yeah,
which debatable.
But they got called for it.
They did. Granted, that happened to us later on in the game as well. So where it was, didn't happen, but they called it anyway. So.
Yeah.
Over it.
The one that I'm mad at is when they called some sort of weird penalty on the Hitman. What was it? What low block or some crap like that?
Oh, was it the chop block or whatever?
Yeah,
no,
but
chop block's something else. I think
he was also like pushed down from behind by the other guy. And I was like, I don't know what's going on with that one. That one was, I think most people would admit that was kind of a crap call.
Yeah. So, there's a couple bad calls. It is what it is.
Yeah. Um, but I think I got nervous when Darnold threw that interception. And then we kind of took our foot off the gas in the fourth quarter. And then, of course, to end the game, Darnold bootlegs a little bit and then throws a pass to Chandler coming out of the backfield, who literally hangs onto that sucker with his fingertips to get the first down. I was like, ah! But yeah, and then it was just kneel downs from there. You want to go over the stats?
Yeah, you can go over the stats. It's fine.
Okay, I'll go over the stats this time. Starting on the Green Bay side, Jordan Love was 19 of 30 for 185 yards and a touchdown. He was sacked 3 times. I don't know what to make of Jordan Love, because some games you see him and you go, "Damn, that dude knows what he's doing," and then other games you watch him and you go,
"Damn, does that guy know what he's doing?"
I don't know that he knows what he's doing.
Honestly, I think week to week he just plays it by ear, and some weeks are better than others, man.
Yeah, this one was all right, but not stellar. In order to beat the Vikings, they needed stellar, and they got meh, average. Does that make sense?
Pretty much.
Jacobs did carry 17 times. He got 69 yards and a touchdown out of it. And Emmanuel Wilson carried 6 times for 29 yards and a touchdown. Dobbs, 7 catches, 58 yards. He also had one on the sideline where I was like, damn, that's a catch. I'm not even mad at that. Tucker Kraft caught 2 for 53. Dontavian Wicks, 4 for 43. Bo Melton, 3 for 18. The touchdown came from Malik Heath, who only caught 1 ball for 3 yards, and it was the touchdown. I will also say that the reason the Vikings scored first, they didn't score first. They had a chance to score first and then screwed it up because literally on like the 3rd play of the game, Jacobs is running and he has the ball punched out. And I believe it was Cam Bynum who came up with the fumble. But yeah, he fumbled and lost it. Carrington Valentine fumbled, but Carl Brooks recovered it. Defensively, Bullard, 11 total tackles, 9 of them were solo. Carl Brooks had a sack. They only had 1 sack. The interception was also from Carrington Valentine. And then he took it. Okay. He took the ball 31 yards and then had it punched out and lost it. And I was like, oh, we're going to get it back. And then, no, Carl Brooks fell on it. I was like, God damn it. One of those big defensive linemen. Fuck off. But yeah, I watched that happen. I was like, oh, we threw an interception. Yay, they fumbled it. Oh, they recovered it. There was a roller coaster on that one. McManus did kick a field goal, by the way. He was good from 22 yards. On the Viking side of things, Sam Darnold went 33 of 43 for 377 yards and 3 touchdowns. He did get he did throw an interception, as we talked about, and he was sacked once. Jones carried 12 times for 47 yards. He sat out most of the second half, at least the fourth quarter that I saw. We started playing Chandler a little more. Chandler and Akers. We started seeing more of. Am I wrong? Did that feel like something you saw too?
It's kind of, yeah, but from what it sounded like, it sounds like Jones is like, it looked like on the sideline he was kind of nursing one of his legs a little bit.
Yeah, I think he had some sort of
didn't seem like he
thing.
hurt himself, but it seemed like maybe
aggravated something.
Maybe aggravated or sore or bruised something possibly. He didn't seem like he was in a ton of pain, but I think they were worried about potentially making it a problem. So they
yeah. And at the time we were up pretty big.
Yeah.
Akers did carry 6 times for 18 yards and Chandler 5 for 7. Justin Jefferson, 8 catches, 92 yards. Naylor absolutely nailed the Packers to the board this time. 5 catches, 81 yards, and a touchdown. Addison, 6 catches, 69 yards and a touchdown. Hawk, 5 for 68. And coming through on some big ones at the end of the game when we needed it. Aaron Jones, 4 for 30. Akers, 2 for 15 and a touchdown. CJ Ham, 2 for 15. And Johnny Munt did get 1 for 7. Brandon Powell did fumble but recovered it, and Bynum was the guy who recovered the fumble from Josh Jacobs. Cashman had himself a day, 11 total tackles, 6 of them were solo, a sack and a half. Van Ginkel got the other half a sack, bringing him to, I believe, 12 on the season. And Dallas Turner had a sack. Good job, Dallas. Outside of that, Reichard was 2 for 4 with a long of 50 on his field goals, and he did go 3 for 3 on his extra points. So Minnesota does win, and that makes this upcoming game with the Lions for all the marbles. I'm kind of excited. Do you have any other thoughts on the Vikings game with the Packers?
Nope, it went about how I expected it to, actually. Almost down to a T. Like, I was like, this is Vikings of this year football. This is about what I expected it to be.
Fuck the cheeseheads.
Pretty much. Get swept!
I think at some point you actually texted me and you said, how do you think Tom is doing right now?
Oh, yeah.
Tom Grossi. And I said, I think he's pretty far in Copeville at this point.
He was pretty hard in, apparently.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
and then they got his hopes up, only to crush them harder. Let's go.
So, the purple incarnation of Satan wins again. Defeating your lowly cheeseheads. So that's pretty funny. All right. We're having some fun here. All right, at this point, you're now going to see the black screen, and you're not going to be able to see us anymore, because I'm going to put all the games up now. Bloop! There they are.
Wow, numbers.
Numbers, all the numbers. I think it actually worked out pretty good the way it went last week, so we're going to do the same thing again here, where just over the potatoes and everything else that we're about to do, we're just going to leave all the numbers up for people to look at and see how we did and you know, kind of figure out how they did and who won and who lost. And then at power rankings, we'll just come back in. All right. Let's start with some showers. You ready for the showers?
Just trying to remember where I put them on my list. Yes.
All right. You want to start this week?
Sure. First one, CJ Stroud. Hit the showers.
I was a little more broad. The Texans. Just get in there. I don't know what that was.
All of you.
I don't know what that was, but it was abysmal. The fact that you only scored 2 points, as you can see on my little thing here, 2 points, worthless. Get in the shower.
My second one, anyone playing in the Bears and Seahawks game, get in the shower. Get in the shower.
I literally had everyone involved in Thursday night football in the shower. That was abysmal.
In the shower.
I agree with you 100%. I'm not even going to try to find another one because that one was just like, oh, that smelled so bad.
That was awful.
Y'all need to rinse up.
All right, for my last one then, Browns management, get in the shower.
My last one, because he threw up a huge stinker this week. Not only did he throw up a stinker, he also got called for unnecessary roughness. And it's the first time I've ever seen a quarterback get called for unnecessary roughness. Aaron Enigma Rodgers, get in the shower.
He does things, man. He does things.
Boy, did he throw up a stinker this week. All right. From showers to infernos.
Okie dokie. Me or you first?
I'll go first this time.
Alrighty then.
I'm going to start with Mike McCarthy. You're in the 5th circle. And the only reason you're not lower is because I honestly don't know if you're going to be fired after next week. Should you be? Probably. Are you going to be? I don't know. I don't think so. It doesn't sound like Jerry wants to get rid of you. So I think you're going to survive.
Especially because Bill Belichick's not on the market like you kept speculating for so long.
And I've always said I don't think Bill and Jerry would work well together.
No.
They would not.
That's true, too. That's true.
So,
Fair enough.
yeah, no, I don't think there's anybody else that Jerry likes more than you. So, you're probably safe just by virtue of not having anybody better.
Pretty much. All right, in my 5th circle, I have the Browns. What the fuck is going on? Like, do you guys even know what the fuck's going on? Because it doesn't seem like you know what the fuck's going on.
Amy Adams Strunk, owner of the Titans, person who fired Vrabel. You're in the 7th circle. Mostly because your organization is not going to recover from firing Mike Vrabel for some time to come. And
True.
This year you suck. Horrible. Horrible donkey
Also
balls.
true. Very true. All right, in the 8th circle, I have Jerry Jones. And my only note for him is maybe Jerry's got dementia. Like, I don't know what else to tell you. The guy says some of the dumbest shit in the last year and a half and doesn't seem to know what's going on anymore. I don't know what else to say.
Still down. So still, I'm going to leave in the 7th circle still. The Indianapolis Colts. What in the fuck is this mess? You literally came into the week needing a win to keep your playoff hopes alive. And instead of starting Richardson, you started Flacco, who has not looked as good as he did last year with the Browns. And you lost. You lost. It was bad. What are you fucking doing? And then you got one of the guys, not a Hall of Famer yet, but probably one of your more well-known players, outside of perhaps Peyton Manning. And you've had some great players come through there. But one of the more vocal ones, who's always in the media, ripped you apart and used his platform to do it. You guys are in trouble.
All right, in my classic 10th circle at this point, I have the Jets. We have so many reasons why. I don't think I need to reiterate most of them. All I'm going to say is maybe stop using Madden ratings. Maybe.
All right. All right. Ready for some potatoes?
Sure.
All right. Maybe it's actually a 4-man race for the MVP.
So I'm going to assume we have Josh Allen,
Yep.
Saquon Barkley.
Nope.
You don't have Saquon in there.
Nope. If he's not going to break the record, he's got no chance.
Then Lamar Jackson probably.
Yep.
Definitely not Derrick Henry then. Joe Burrow perhaps.
Yep.
I don't like that one just because he's probably not making playoffs. If he makes playoffs, I would agree, but without playoffs, I think that really taints that. And then your fourth one, I assume, because you're cheeky, you probably have Sam Darnold in there.
Yep.
Which unfortunately I have to. I
I'm cheeky.
understand. I understand why you'd want to. However, he had enough poor weeks, especially those two that we actually lost was bad enough that I would push back and say that's not quite MVP caliber level. I think it's legitimately just down to two. Maybe Joe can still stay in it if he somehow makes playoffs, but without playoffs, I don't think Joe
If
stands
you
a
look
chance
at
at
the
all.
stats, he's actually really good.
No, I know, I agree, but I just don't think it's going to be enough. That's all I'm saying. So I think it's going to come down to Josh Allen and Lamar probably, and it's probably going to go Josh Allen, to be completely blunt with you.
Okay. Okay.
Maybe, just maybe, Sam Darnold has the best story for the comeback player of the year.
Oh, easily. I was worried, like, I thought it was either going to be Rogers or Cousins, both who got major injuries and sat out.
Yeah.
And I thought, oh, it's easily going to be one of these two. And then both of them just donkey balls this year. Horrible.
Oh, straight up, yeah.
Straight up bad. And so you look at it and you go, okay, well, then who's another guy? Darnold. Darnold was on the verge of being maybe even out of the league as a backup
Yeah.
quarterback, a bust, somebody who couldn't get it done, yada, yada, yada. And then this year he comes in with the Vikings and he takes them to on the cusp of the number one overall seed in the NFC. And you go, oh. So I don't know that there's a better comeback story right
Like
now.
as weird as it sounds, it's not the same. Not even close. There are definitely differences. But like it's got almost Kurt Warner-esque tones to it. That's all I'm saying. Only because of like the difference is that Sam started up with a higher with the known potential and then dropped to nearly the rock bottom and then had to work his way back up into the good graces.
Yeah,
Kurt
and
Warner
with
doing that through arena
Kurt,
football, right?
yeah, well, Kurt started even in the NFL. He started higher, and he was a bag boy at a grocery store, and made it as a backup, and then their starter got submarined. So you can make that comparison.
Yeah.
JJ McCarthy / Trent Green. And then,
Yep.
You get your backup in there, and he absolutely just picks people apart and becomes the greatest show on turf, and
Exactly.
wins the Super Bowl, or wins the Super Bowl, and then his wife goes on a radio show, talks him out of a great spot, goes to New York, does nothing in New York. Everybody thinks, oh, he's done. Goes to Arizona, where he's supposed to be a backup for a bunch of different people, and winds up taking them to a Super Bowl. They didn't win, but they win.
But they came real damn
They
close.
came real close, and you were just like, I thought you were toast. I thought you were done, and then you become a Hall of Famer. I mean,
Yeah. Crazy.
it's a great story. There's a few notes that are similar, but it's not similar enough to me.
No. I was just saying that I find it funny that there's some tones I would say that are similar tones.
Mm-hmm.
And I just find it interesting how, like, as weird as this sounds, I'm just gonna say it. If somehow Sam Darnold does take them to an actual Super Bowl and somehow wins it, even if he maybe doesn't even win it, just makes them there, right? Like, you'd be like, that's a movie. That's a movie script. Some kid who gets drafted up high in football ends up being a bust, gets traded around the league for a couple years, ends up getting one last opportunity to start. They draft a kid above you that you know is now your competition, and they're saying that he might actually start over you, and you're going, oh shit, I might not even play football again. And then the starter goes out with an injury, and now you have the real opportunity to make a huge run, and you do. Like, I'm just saying, like, that's legitimately, you could make a movie out of that.
Or a TV series on like HBO or Showtime or something.
Yeah, like, I'm just saying. I'm just calling it out. Whoever's got the money, start making the fucking Sam Darnold the story movie.
All right, my next one, maybe, just maybe, and this is going to give away something for what we think about next week. The Denver Broncos will beat the Chiefs and secure a spot in the playoffs?
No. No. I'm sorry. I'm still not eating it. I know that there's a very good chance the Chiefs are not playing their starters, and I still think the Chiefs will win. I'm sorry. I'm calling it now. The Broncos are cursed, and there's nothing that anyone can do about it. Just calling it now. Just calling it now. I mean, it's very, to be honest, it is realistically possible that they just went out and just call it a day. But in my brain, I'm seeing a real world where that doesn't happen. So that's just me, though. So I'm pushing back just because I have a feeling the Broncos are gonna choke. So for my second one, I have maybe, just maybe, the Buffalo Bills are Super Bowl bound.
I'd like to see it. I'm going to be honest with you. I'd like to see a Vikings-Bills Super Bowl because they've both been 4 times and lost 4 times. And having a Super Bowl where the Vikings and the Bills, one of them has to break their curse.
One of them has to fucking win it, yeah?
That would be an amazing Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie.
Who breaks the curse first?
Yeah, I'm going to eat it, and I'm going to root for an all-curse bowl. I want it. I want it so badly right now. I can taste it.
I don't know. The Lions in there could also work, to be fair.
Yeah, but they've never been before. So for me,
saying,
it's the 2 teams that have been to a bunch of them, and neither one of them's been able to get the job done. I think that's a better story.
It wasn't the Bills like 3 of them back to back too, or were all 4 of them back to back?
I think it was 3 back to back.
Okay.
And then I want to say with the Vikings, they had 2 or 3 back to back as well.
I think it was 2 back to back.
I think it was 2 back to back, and then there were 2 other ones.
Yeah.
And one year was
so,
when we had one of the best defenses in football. With
Yeah,
the
we were
People
considered
Eaters
the favorites by so
many points, and we just got stomped. All right.
I want to talk about it.
This next one, I'm going to warn you, I may have dunked this sucker in nuclear fire. It's going to be hot. It's coming at you. I may have combined all the hot sauces used on Hot Ones to do this one.
Nah, I'm not worried about it.
Maybe. Just maybe. The 49ers should not pay Brock Purdy.
No, I understand where you're going, but no, I think they'll pay him. They just won't pay him as much as he probably would like. Because realistically, he's gotten injured enough times at this point that there's real injury concerns.
I'm not even worried about the injuries. I'm worried that without stellar people around him, he's at best an average starter. At best. And he's
That's what I'm
already
saying.
He's already at his ceiling. And you can do better.
I don't necessarily disagree with you. I'm just saying that in their brain, the 49ers are not going to get a high enough draft pick to probably pick up a good quarterback. So you pay Brock Purdy an average salary, or even slightly below average salary, let's say, for 2 to 3 years. Hopefully he ends up being fine and everything's okay, and it's not a big deal. The good contract. Worst case comes out of it, you get a good draft pick. You eventually plan for getting, maybe Arch Manning, and maybe he'll be available at that point, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I think that they will ultimately pay him. I just think he has lowered his salary significantly due to the injuries and due to the way he's played over the last season. But that's just my personal opinion. I think he's still going to get paid. Because quite frankly, if they don't, let's be blunt, he will get paid by somebody. Somebody will pay him.
I feel like they should make him somebody else's problem, and that's just me.
but he's better than a lot of quarterbacks that are in certain other bad situations. Like if I'm on the Browns and he becomes available, I'm just going, "You interested?" If I'm Seattle, I'm going, "Yeah, I'd rather have a younger version of what basically we already have. Fuck it, Gino, you're gone. We're bringing in a younger version of you, and he's white. That's irrelevant, but it's just funny. I just find that funny. Um, or maybe even like Aaron Rodgers doesn't come back. They desperately need a quarterback. The Jets give him a call. Who knows? I'm just saying. If the 49ers don't take him, somebody will, and the 49ers will then have to find somebody again.
Fair enough.
I don't know. I just don't know how much hunting they want to go for. That's all I'm saying.
That's fair enough. All right. You got one more for me?
I got one more. Maybe. Just maybe. The Miami Dolphins will make the playoffs. And this is why I didn't agree with your Broncos one.
I mean, that's fair.
Because they have to lose.
That means the Broncos would have to lose, and the Dolphins have to play and beat the Jets.
They have to beat the Jets.
They're going to the Jets, which means they're going to have to play in the cold, which traditionally they're not very good at.
Yes, but it's
and we also don't know if Tua's going to be back.
It's the Jets.
It is.
In fact, you know what? If I'm the Dolphins, maybe you just don't let Tua play this one. Historically, he plays horrible in the cold. Let Tyler Huntley do that. He's literally played in the cold before.
Nah, I'm going to push back on it. I don't think they're going to make it. I think the Broncos are going to make it.
I don't know. Here's the thing. I originally wanted to put Bengals here, but then I saw the game of the Dolphins and Jets, and I just went, there's no way the Jets beat the Dolphins in that game.
But if they do,
it's just no way.
I'm going to laugh.
Dude, if the Bengals make it, I'll be so mad that I didn't put that down, because that was my real fiery one that I wanted to put down, and I just I couldn't find a way to justify the Dolphins somehow losing that game. I just couldn't do it in my brain.
All right, let's do some game balls and then get into the power rankings. So game balls, and then you'll see our wonderful faces again.
Okie dokie.
You can go ahead and get started.
All right, Baker Mayfield game ball.
I had him. Drew Lock game ball. Not going to be able to say that about many Giants players, so.
No, that's true. However, Malik Neighbors game ball.
He also had a really good game. I'm not even going to be mad about that. Jaden Daniels game ball.
That's fair. And my final one, somebody that doesn't get called out very often, but had some critical catches in the game. Jalen Naylor game ball.
I'll give you that one. That one was really good. My other one, Lamar Jackson game ball.
Okay, there you go.
You broke a record. Good job. All right.
I also had Lad McConkey on my list as well.
Lad McConkey. I also had Saquon, of course.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. But Saquon's you could just list him all the weeks, basically.
Almost all the weeks, yeah, except for next week. Next week's the only week we won't be able to do that.
Yeah. All right. We're back again. You can see our wonderful faces again. Let's do some power rankings.
Rankings of power.
There are many rankings, but these are ours. Alrighty. It's been a weird week. So my number 10, Pittsburgh Steelers.
That's a choice.
It is a choice. I almost went with the Commanders.
I can confirm for you outright they are not on my list.
I almost went with the Commanders, but I went with the Steelers instead.
Wow.
Almost.
It's insulting.
It is a little, but Steelers for right now. I think you've got a chance at winning this upcoming week. And I'm not giving up on you yet.
At number 10, I have the Rams. I mean, obviously you won your division. That game you played was kind of horrible, to be fair. It wasn't fun to watch, but you won your division. And
Apparently, I'm
huh?
higher on them than you are.
Hey, it is what it is. I think they're a good team. I think they're just on the outside edge.
At number 9, I have the Packers.
Okay,
You played us hard, you played us good, and you lost. Number 9.
that's true. At number 9, I have the Chargers. I think the Chargers are actually a good football team. I don't know what else to tell you. They're a good football team.
At number 8, I have the Buccaneers. You handled business. You handled business. Since the Commanders beat the Falcons for you, you're now back in control of the division. But you handled your business. Now you need to do it one more time. Baker needs to go bake.
Nope, Buccaneers are not going to be on my list either. And you
Really?
crazy. You a cray, dude.
No, Buccaneers totally deserve that.
Nope. Number 8, I have the Green Bay Packers. You were up, I think, up at 5 or I think 4 or 5 last week on my list. 5. You were at 5 last week. You lost. You dropped down. You're still a good football team, but you did lose the North. So.
At number 7, I have the Rams.
Jesus Christ.
Y'all are playing. They're playing really good football right now. Stafford is playing good.
Did you watch that game last week?
Yes, I did.
It was really boring. Don't lie to you. Don't lie. It was boring.
It wasn't as boring as I thought it was going to be, and I'm really, really on the Braden Fisk Jared Verse train at this point.
I mean, I'm not disagreeing with you, but the game was boring. It was not a good game. Let's not pretend here.
But I think they're a good. I think they're a very good football team, and I think they're the team that you do not want to run across in the NFC right now.
I mean,
because they're way better than their record would suggest.
No, I'm just trying to think of other teams in the playoffs would I rather play over the Rams.
The Buccaneers?
Yeah, I'd play the Buccaneers probably.
I think, weirdly, I'd almost rather play the Eagles than the Rams.
No, I'd take the Rams over the Eagles.
Or the Packers.
Nope, I'm taking the Rams over the Packers as well.
That's what I'm saying. I would rather face the Packers before I'd take the Rams.
Yeah, I'm saying I would rather play the Rams than play the Packers.
I disagree.
Hey, it is what it is. It be what it be.
It do.
At number 7, I have the Chargers. I think you are very disrespectful, good sir. Not Chargers, sorry, Commanders.
Thank you.
Commanders is what I was
going to say. You already said Chargers.
Yes.
I am confuzzled.
No, you're good. Commanders. They both start with a C. Leave me alone. Commanders. I think you're being incredibly disrespectful. Come on, you were already talking about Jaden Daniels being literally the MVP caliber, except for he's going to get rookie MVP just because you can't be actual MVP. Come on.
There is a good chance that they will make my list next week.
That's dude, I'm just saying, you're sleeping way too hard on them. I only have them at 7, only because I couldn't argue them higher. That's the only reason.
I could.
I really want to.
Right now they're sitting at about 11. If I'm going to be honest, they damn near made my list. I'm worried about the defense more than anything.
Oh yeah, I'm just thinking that offense is so fucking red hot. It's gonna carry it.
That offense is pretty red hot, and Jaden Daniels is red hot. But without Jaden Daniels, I don't think this team does anything.
No, not at all.
This team is Jaden Daniels. So if he gets hurt in the playoffs at all, they're done.
Dude, the amount of times I've seen him take hits though, and it looks like he's bending over in the most awkward positions, and then gets up like he was Bambi. Dude just takes hits. I don't know.
He's like Gumby.
Yeah, he just takes hits, and he looks like he's made out of rubber. I don't know, man.
He's a Tigger. His top is made out of rubber. His bottom is made out of springs.
Oh God,
Sorry. Not
that's
sorry.
awful.
At number 6, Baltimore. I have the Ravens here. You guys have played very well. You guys are probably going to win the North. And considering how you started this season, I didn't think that was going to happen. But you did make your comebacks. You've played incredibly well. Lamar has really kind of pounded that in there and done a good job. So I'm happy. Y'all win. Y'all deserve to be this high up.
At number 6, I have the Chiefs. I just can't. I can't with the Chiefs anymore. I just can't. Just can't keep getting away with it. That's all I got.
At number 5, I have the Eagles. Bird Bros. Couple of bird buds. Yeah, you came out. You won. Without Hurts, but you lost Kenny Pickett, who threw the best pass of the week, straight into the dirt. Literally looking like he forgot to let go of the football and then followed the pass directly to the dirt, which it was hilarious. It looked like he jumped and threw himself and the ball into the dirt. Funniest thing I've seen in a while. Even my wife does not watch football. She laughed when she saw it.
Did it on purpose.
Apparently, he did it on purpose.
I don't know if I believe it, though.
I don't believe it at all. I think he just forgot to let go of the football. Whoops! But yeah, you guys are number 5. You have
the stick almost too strong.
You have a good football team. I know you're going to rest your starters. You might lose to the Giants, but who cares at this point?
Possible. At number 5, I got the Eagles. I got nothing to add based on what you just said.
At number 4, I've got the Chiefs. Look, y'all are probably... I don't know if you're going to win this week, because you're probably going to rest your starters. I also don't care if you win this week. You guys are a very good football team, and again, I feel like lucky gets thrown around with you a lot, but there's a lot of situations where luck is just hard work and opportunity meeting, and you recognizing the availability of it when it's there in front of you and not passing it by. And I think that's a testament to how hard the Chiefs work. Beautiful.
All right. I got nothing to add to that, so I'm going to say at number 4, I have the Ravens. I think they're a great football team. I think Lamar is great. I think Derrick Henry is great. I think they have some questions on defense at times, but outside of that, they're a really good football team.
Number 3, I have the Buffalo Bills. Josh Allen is your team, man. That's the dude right there, and everybody knows it. Cook has also been cooking for you guys, so can't be mad there. Your defense has been decent. You have a very good, solid, all-round football team.
Football.
You guys have a good shot at upsetting the Chiefs and making the Super Bowl this year. We've already talked about that in our potatoes, but yeah, I think you guys are going to be a hell of a fun ride this year. So Bills Mafia, get ready. I want to see you going through tables. Set them bitches on fire when you beat the Chiefs.
Tables.
Get the table!
At number 3, I have the Buffalo Bills. That's right, I said Bills and not Bills because I have a slight lisp. But the Bills at number 3 because they're good.
Mm-hmm. When I was younger, I actually couldn't say R's.
I can say my R's. I think the problem is that I tend to speak too fast.
Do that.
And so I stumble over my words.
I do that too. But when I was younger, I also had an uncle whose name was Rick. So for a long time, for a little while there, I had an Uncle Ick.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
sounds about right.
Anyway, at number 2, we're going to do 1 and 2 together. Of course, 2 is the Lions, 1 is the Vikings. Look,
Yep.
Lions, you beat the Niners, but you beat a depleted Niners team.
Very depleted
Very
Niners.
depleted Niners team. Um, but I'm very happy you didn't give them any quarter. They don't deserve any. And the fact is that I knew you guys were going to come in and win. This is the team that knocked you out of the playoffs last year in the NFC Championship game, a game you should have won because you were leading for most of that game. So I'm sure you had some feelings there, and I'm sure Dan Campbell was able to work out some aggression. And the Vikings, man, you swept the Packers, you swept the Bears, you've lost one to the Lions, but you got a chance to go in now to Detroit and break their fucking hearts. And I'm gonna say you better do it. You better do it. Don't give up on me now.
The engine stopped short of the hill. No,
No.
no. Yeah. I mean, obviously, I have the same placings. I think the Vikings are definitely one of the top teams in the NFL. Definitely in the top team in the NFC at the moment. I just, yeah, I don't know how. The problem is the amount of times I'm seeing people still have the Lions above the Vikings at this point. I think is hysterical. Um, I can understand why they would do it, but like at the same time, if you look at the Lions team as it is right now with all of their injuries, how can you possibly say they're as good as when we played them the first time? Because they're not.
They're not.
Um, so I just don't get that. And then on top of that, almost everyone putting, you know, the Bills and Chiefs above both of these teams right now, which I also think is insane.
Yeah, people are nuts, man.
So I just, yeah, I think the Vikings. Thankfully, they have been getting a lot more respect over the last couple of weeks. Um, but I'm shocked it took so long for people to be like, you know what, maybe we were wrong. Like, shit, no duh.
Most people
We
still
were
don't
saying
want to.
that before the season started.
Yeah, most people still don't want to put respect on Sam Darnold's name.
No, there are still some people out there who are just still being like, I don't trust him. Once they get to playoffs, he's gonna crumble. You said that about mid-season. You said mid-season he was gonna crumble. It didn't happen. He had the
Nope.
2 games that were that were very close to each other. I think 5 days apart.
Something like
They
that.
lost, and then all of a sudden went back on a winning streak. Haven't lost since. Like, come on, fuck's sake.
All right. Final week of the regular season. You ready?
Sure.
Starting with Browns at Ravens.
Ravens.
I agree. Bengals at Steelers.
Bengals, because they really, really need that win.
I'm going to agree, but there's a part of me that wants to go Steelers because I think they need a win too coming into the playoffs.
They
But
would
I
like
think
one, but
I think
they don't
Bengals
need it
are
as hard
Bengals are
as
going to
Bengals
be
need it.
desperate. They need it way
Yeah.
more. If
They
they're
need it way
gonna
more.
if they're even gonna have a chance at sniffing the playoffs, they gotta
Yeah.
win.
Exactly.
Um, Texans at Titans.
This is a harder choice than it should be. I'm gonna say Texans, but I'm not confident on it.
You know what? I am gonna go Titans, and I'm probably going to regret that. But the way the Texans have been playing
I get it
lately,
though. Yeah, I was
there's a
gonna say I get
chance.
it, man. I
There's a
get it.
chance.
There's a real chance. So you're
Panthers.
saying there's a chance?
Panthers at Falcons.
Falcons are gonna play their heart out because they need the win. I want to say Panthers, but I think with how hard the Falcons are gonna play, I just don't think the Panthers can win it. So,
I agree,
Falcons.
especially without Chuba Hubbard. I definitely watched that game and went, there's not enough there without him
Yeah.
for them to keep up. Saints at Buccaneers.
That should be Buccaneers. I'd be shocked if the Bucks somehow lose that game.
I actually agree with you. Bills at Patriots.
I mean, it's gonna be the Bills. It's gonna be the Bills.
I'm going to take the Patriots.
Okay.
I think the Bills are going to rest their starters, and I think that gives the Patriots a chance.
Don't forget their backup is Mitch Trubisky. He actually plays pretty decently on that team. Dude, he actually plays decently on that team. They had him in like a couple times and he did okay, and I was like, wow, that's actually not horrible.
I have no faith.
Apparently not.
Jags at Colts.
I mean, god damn. A game that quite literally doesn't matter. Why not Jags? I don't know.
I actually agree with you.
Like I don't know how to feel about that because is the Colts gonna are they gonna play their starters? You probably wouldn't, right? Because you don't want to injure anybody at the end of the season at this point.
Who would care?
Exactly. Well,
No. They're going to play their starters because you need to figure out what you've got.
Would you though? You don't want to injure nobody.
They'll be ready by next season.
Depends on what the injury is.
That's true, but no, they're going to. Everybody's going to play.
Yes, maybe. I don't know.
Commanders at Cowboys.
Commanders.
I agree. I don't know if they're going to play everybody because I don't think they can improve their standings any.
I don't know about that.
Yeah. But I don't think it matters. I think the Commanders want to embarrass the Cowboys.
Yes.
Giants
Who doesn't?
Giants at Eagles. Eagles are resting their starters.
I was going to say, Eagles are resting the starters. The Giants have a real opportunity. Depends on if the Giants play their starters. Because it's possible they decide not to play like Malik Neighbors, for example. They could just decide we're not injuring our star prospect for next year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Plus, they want, a good draft pick. Gives a good excuse to do it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to be weird and pick the Eagles.
I'll take the Giants.
Okay.
Because if there's going to be a team that screws up a tank, it's going to be the Giants.
True.
Bears at Packers.
I mean, that should be a Packers victory.
I agree, and I think it's mostly going to be because now they're mad. They got swept by the Vikings, so they're going to try to sweep the Bears.
Time to beat up down on the Bears,
beat up on the Bears, exactly. I think that's going to be the thing.
Bears looking up, being like, please, big brother, no!
Shut up and take your lumps. Seahawks at Rams.
Rams.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think
they want to They want to kind of shore up and look, and beat up on the Seahawks, interdivision kind of thing,
Dolphins at Jets.
I just don't see the Dolphins losing. I don't care what you say. The Dolphins are going to win.
I'm taking the Jets.
You are nuts.
I might be. This
is worse than my Panthers pick from last week.
This might be worse than your Panthers pick, but we'll see. Chiefs at Broncos.
I'm still picking the Chiefs. I think their backups are still good enough to beat the Broncos.
And I will take the Broncos because I think they got a real chance to beat the Chiefs.
All I'm saying is Carson Wentz could do something real funny.
Yeah, turn the ball over several times. Chargers at Raiders.
I mean, it should be a Chargers.
Yeah. The Raiders shouldn't have a chance in this one.
No.
Niners at Cardinals.
Wow. A game that doesn't super matter. Cardinals?
I'll take the Niners.
Throwing out a weird one there. Not super confident in it, but
I'll take the Niners. And then, of course, Sunday Night Football, Vikings at Lions.
Vikings.
Yes, 100%.
Not doubting. No doubt.
No doubt. Going in. All
Pushing
right.
all the chips in.
So outside of the Vikings game, let's let you start again. What do you want?
That's a great question. Give me 1 second. I'll take the Bengals Pittsburgh game
Okay.
on Saturday.
Okay. Okay. Take the Bucks Saints game.
Um, Wait, that's gonna get copyright. I'll take the Kansas City Denver game.
Ooh, okay. Okay. If you're going to do that one, I'll do. You know what? I'll do Dolphins and Jets.
Okie dokie.
And then obviously we'll both watch the Vikings game.
Of course.
All right. I got nothing else for us this week. Next week we'll go back. And okay, good. Real quick update. After MRIs, Jared Spurgeon will only miss 2 to 3 weeks. He will not require surgery.
Nice.
Whew.
Not so bad.
All right. So that being the case, everything being done, we will see you all back here next week. I will come back next week with NHL Power Rankings, and we might do some depowered rankings. And it'll be the end of the season. It's the end of the season as we know it. And the playoffs feel fine.
Gross. It's gonna get us copyright.
That was bad. I hope we don't get copyrighted for it. All right, we'll see you all back here next week. We hope that you had a wonderful year last year, and we know that this is your wonderful new year. We know you made some resolutions. We believe in you. Put your mind to your resolutions. We know you can accomplish it. We'll see you back here next week when we will go over all of the scenarios, and we will finally find out who's in, who's out, who's 1, who's 5. We don't know yet. We will find out. In the meantime, stay bearded.